It's not. There's no need even to have a college degree at all.
There you go. Yeah, I think that you're almost more likely to have achieved greater things not wasting all that time pursuing a degree that you're not passionate about. All right, guys, if this is your first time, my name is Matt101, and this is the #1 podcast this side of the Mississippi. I am joined by my co-host, the best co-host someone can ask for. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Chris, the shotgun, Pasco. Say what up, Chris.
Yo, what's going on?
That is 100% my boy. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man.
I see
How you doing?
I see you're rocking the Rona right now, rocking some beers.
Hey, dude, their sales are down, man. We got to do what we can to support them.
So today we're actually going to talk about some really controversial subjects. We're going to talk about whether college in this day and age, keep in mind, this day and age,
2020.
is worth it or not, and everything in between. So let's just dive right into it. Firstly, let me ask you this.
All right.
Did you go to college?
I did not go to college. Actually, I take that back. I did 1 year of college after I got out of the military, and I remembered precisely why I joined the military and didn't go to college after 1 year of college. Just not my thing.
You did have some sort of form of college, though, didn't you, in the military? Don't they put you through something called tech school, or is that?
That's an Air Force thing.
Oh, okay.
They call it tech school. The Army calls it AIT, and in the Marines we call it just MOS school. I think my MOS school was maybe 11 or 12 weeks long in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, literally the middle of nowhere. Pretty sure it was the meth capital of the world. It's not, I wouldn't really consider that college. I mean, that was more a fast track trade school to learn how to work on heavy equipment.
Life experience wise, it's probably like 10 years worth. I was always curious, like, if basic military training is one of those things that you look back on and you say, wow, I remember every single damn second of this. Or if it's like, wow, that was fast. And it's gone.
I think my whole enlistment for 4 years was your second option, which was, wow, that was fast. The whole 4 years just flew by. You know, they do allow you at certain points, they allow some people to go to school while you're in. I never did that. I tried to sign up. It's honestly a pain in the ass to get it approved through your command and stuff like that. So I didn't go to school until I got out of the military when I was working at Caterpillar as a heavy equipment mechanic still.
So what was your actual career or job title in the military?
I was a heavy equipment mechanic.
How did they give you that certification?
3 months in Fort Leonard Wood. You go to an engineering school out in Missouri.
So I would say that's a variation of a tech school or a trade.
It's more of a fast, like I said earlier, it's like a fast track trade program.
Did those companies that you worked for after becoming a civilian accept your experience in the military?
Yeah.
Or did you have to do new stuff?
I really didn't have to do any extra curriculum to become certified to work as a mechanic in the civilian industry. And I worked for Milton Caterpillar, which is the biggest Caterpillar dealer in New England. They all looked at my 4 years in the Marine Corps as 4 years of experience working on heavy equipment. They all thought I was perfectly qualified each time I applied for one of those positions. I worked for 3 companies.
When I was 17, 18, I was thinking about a lot of things. I was going back and forth between going into the military, going to a 4-year college, or going to a technical college. Really, those were like the 3 main options that I was looking at. And granted, I was currently working for Pike Industries. I was torn with what I wanted to do, but to be honest, just the party boy in me wanted to go to UNH or UVM.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I wanted that too. Everyone talks about UNH and UVM. I actually partied there when I was 18, both colleges, because I had friends who were there. And I was like, I want to go here. And so I told my parents, right? And my parents are like, yeah, feel free to apply and go. Just know that you're on your own. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you have to take out all the student loans for it. They're like, worst case scenario, we can sign for you, but just know that it's on you. And I was like, well, what about if I go to Vermont Tech? They're like, if you go to Vermont Tech and you major in construction management, just like your brothers did, who are currently successful doing what they're doing, we'll pay for the first 2 years and you can get your associate's degree. And so I was like, well, damn. I looked into the money aspect of both of them. Well, it looks like the smartest thing for me to do is go to Vermont Technical College. They have a 98% placement rate.
So they're actually using their degree.
Yes, they have very few majors. They have architecture, they have construction management and practice, they have civil engineering, they have vet tech, they have equine studies, they have whatever firemen go to school for if they want to be up at the top, whatever major that is, fireman awesome major. And so it was a lot of dudes, to be honest with you. Girls were few and far between, which is not
it's
great.
Kind of expected
there were
for
some
a college like that.
there were some hotties taking equine studies. I mean, to be honest, it was known that the equine studies girls were usually the smoke shows. Anyways, it was full of dudes that wanted to make money quick and get an associate's degree and be out of there. And you still had a campus, like we did have a small campus, and we were about 40 minutes from UVM. So to be honest, me and my friends went.
We'd just go up there.
Yeah, we went and partied in Burlington.
When I first got stationed in my unit in South Carolina, I was like 2.5 hours from Myrtle Beach. Just so happened one of my best friends that I grew up with went to Coastal Carolina outside of Myrtle Beach or in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And so when he went down there for school, I had been living in South Carolina for 2 or 3 months already. So I would just rip up. I had a CBR 954 at the time. I would just rip up there on Friday.
Honda CBR 954?
Dude, that was my first bike, dude. That thing was ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah. So I would just rip it up.
Jeez,
Route 17
I can't even picture
all the way.
you on a crotch rocket anymore.
No.
You're so
no.
Harley.
Once I sold it, I said I'll never get a crotch rocket because I'm too stupid on it. I'm stupid enough on my Harley.
Dude, they're so fun though.
I would just zip up there and I would get the college experience Friday, Saturday, and Sunday without all the college work, which worked out pretty good in my favor. So
for me, college was hard. I definitely had some hard times in college, not because of the book work.
That's not how I learned.
It's not because of the book work. It was because of the free time in between. Was on a straight and narrow path with construction. Was I passionate about construction? No, not really. But I knew that it was the quickest way for me to make real money fast. I saw my brothers with company trucks, company cell phones at 22 years old, and I said, I want and need that. So I did what I needed to do to try to get there. Now, I belted out my 2 years. It was about $8,000 a semester. And remember, my parents had that deal where if I went there for 2 years and I wasn't flunking out and I wasn't getting arrested too much, they would...
How many times did you get arrested?
Let's not talk about that. Overall, I paid $8,000 a semester.
Okay.
And with a total of 4 semesters. So it came out to around $24,000, and then you add, food and extra stuff, and me going to my parents with my tail in between my legs for extra money. And I worked for the construction company in the summer. So every summer I would
Pike?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would work 70 hours a week as a laborer/intern. They put me through the fire. So I did that, and then as soon as I finished my second year, they gave me the bump up to project engineer, which was the whole path, and then you start making pretty good money. And then if you do well at that position, you get a company truck and a company cell phone shortly thereafter, and then boom, you're on the $70,000 to $90,000 a year life.
So let me ask you this: what happened? You got to $70,000 to $90,000 a year. You got the truck. You got the phone. What happened?
Let me just say this: my family and everyone at Pike could not believe that I left. My parents literally told me, "Do not."
So what was your plan when you left?
So what happened was...
Did you go right into real estate?
Dude, it's actually a pretty amazing story. There was a turning point. So I had a project superintendent that was 29 years old. And we were really close because we were close in age. I was 21 and he was 29. And he was my brother's best friend, my oldest brother.
Yep.
And I watched him purchase a property on the computer on an online auction for $200,000. And I said, yo, how do you have the buying power to even do that? He's like, hey, this is my 5th property. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking in my head, I literally was blowing through my checks. Every week I would get paid and I would just hightail it in my Ford Ranger and I would head right back up north and I would get hammered and I would start all over again on Monday. I looked at him purchasing that property for $200,000 online. And I say, how did you get there? And he's like, hey, real estate, man, real estate, it's the way to go. So I was always in the job trailer because I was responsible for the finances and stuff like that for the job. He comes in and puts the book on my desk. He goes, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
And it changed your life.
And granted, this is like the first year I have a real position and I'm working all year. And he's like, read it. So I take it home, I read it. And then he gives me another book. He makes me read The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a very simple read.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't even like get into the real nitty gritty of how to make money and more money.
It just breaks it down.
Changes your whole overall
outlook.
mindset.
Your outlook
of
on money. Yep.
Yeah, and that you can make it different ways, and that there are ways to.
If you guys haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you want or see yourself or desire some sort of future, and you desire success and making money and whatever that may be.
Just building wealth.
Whatever it is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is arguably probably the first book you need to just pick up and read, because it really, like Matt said, it just changes your mindset completely.
I read that book and it completely changed my life.
That was
within
me.
a week.
Yep, that was me.
So after reading that
I read that book when I worked at Komatsu, and that was probably when I started the first step to get to where I ended up in real estate.
For me, it was so dramatic that 2 months after reading that book, I quit and left Pike and moved to Concord, New Hampshire, which I never had lived before. I was living in... there
was probably 10 times the population what you were used to.
Yeah.
Night and day.
I grew up in a town with less than 3,000 people. So it was just a whole different ballgame. And I said, you know what? I'm going to move to Concord because that's where the real estate school was. And I'm going to get my real estate license. And I'm going to sell real estate full time. And what I did was I cashed out the little 401k I had with Pike. I took the penalty, cashed it out.
Yeah.
And then
I did the same thing when I got in real estate.
It was actually the same year that Uber launched. So I was driving for Uber on the side. And so I lived off of my small amount of savings that I had from Pike, and I cashed out my 401k, and then I was driving for Uber until 1 a.m. every night and doing real estate classes.
I didn't know you hustled on Uber.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was doing whatever I could do
takes
to not go back to my parents with my tail in between my legs. Lucky for me, Pike said, hey, the door's always open for you if, something changes. Because
that's cool.
I think everyone's assuming that you're going to fail when you drop everything and go to get into real estate as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old kid.
Yeah, but I did the same thing.
Yeah, and also everyone knows that there's the 87% failure rate. It's so funny how much I was taken by those books and that.
And how much it changes you.
Nothing was stopping me.
So it's somewhere between 87% and 75%.
In the first year?
In the first 2 years.
In the first 2 years,
yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So my stepdad is a commercial lender. Growing up, I kind of knew what he did, but I didn't really know that it involved real estate per se. I just knew that he gave business loans, basically, is what it came down to. So if you asked me even 10 years ago or even longer if I thought I'd work in the same industry as my stepdad, who really is the guy that raised me, I would have said no. I never in a million years would have pictured myself as a real estate agent. I just never would have. But he always taught me about the law of attraction, and the first movie and audiobook and stuff that really hooked me and really kind of just changed my overall thought process was The Secret. So that's another good one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and also The Secret. The Secret talks about the law of attraction. The law of attraction is 100% how I have been able to accomplish everything that I have accomplished in my short 27. I almost said 26. Short 27 years. I just turned 27.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, man. So,
dude, it's funny that you say you never pictured yourself as a real estate agent, because that's exactly the same thing for me.
Well, so and I got in just like you.
I got into real estate to become an investor.
Yeah, me too.
Because my superintendent at Pike was like, yo, Matt, you have the personality to actually do this every day. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't. I had to go straight into investing, but he's like, Matt, there's a reason why we send you to talk to the DOT guys. There's a reason why we ask you to beg for money for more budget for guardrail. That's kind of why I immediately tried to get licensed.
Right.
And then my plan was to invest like within a year and become like a flipper wholesaler investor.
Yeah.
And life hits you and it doesn't really happen.
It doesn't really
that
work
way.
like that.
You
no.
you gotta start making real money and working every day
while still paying your bills and savings. And
absolutely.
I mean,
it's a process without going back to your parents.
It doesn't happen overnight for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, I got kind of on the track to become a high volume real estate agent instead of, full-time investor or whatever that may be.
Because that takes time.
Well, yeah, because to be honest, to do that correctly, that does
takes
develop
year.
over
I
time.
think it honestly takes a few years as a real estate agent to learn the ins and outs of real estate itself and the transaction process. It also gives you time to network and meet the people that you need to know. Like, I'm sure, like me personally, like I have an electrician, I have a plumber, I have a painter, I have a GC, you know, I have a septic guy, I have a well company and a water guy. So you need to make all those connections, because if you just jumped right into flipping houses,
you could lose your shirt on the first one, and you have no foundation.
Yeah, you
and
have no
base.
business relationships.
And then all of a sudden you're back
on.
and living in a cardboard box.
Right, and now you got to start from square one again. You got to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's going to be ultimately more beneficial to us to do what we do now for, I don't want to say the long term, but do it more of as like a short term thing, 5-10 years. Personally, I think I'm probably always, at this point, I'll probably always sell real estate. Honestly, it's become such a passion for me, and I love it. I love going to look at houses. I love helping people accomplish their goals. But I think it's also setting both of us up to one day be able to do flips. Like, obviously, I actually just finished my first flip on my last house. Matt was I'm grateful enough for Matt that he was able to bring the buyer to that house, and it's actually going to turn out profitable. I'm not losing money, so it's actually turning out pretty good.
So basically what I want to get back to is I have a lot of friends that I know that got their bachelor's or master's degrees, and they don't even use it.
No,
so the
that's
biggest
the part that
the
kills
biggest
me.
thing for me with whether college is worth it in 2020 is to think, hey, do I want to buy a luxury vehicle? Not buy it, but finance a luxury vehicle every year for 4 to 6 years or however long it takes to get a damn degree. It's literally like buying 6 Lexuses. And having that student loan debt. So either one, you have to be so passionate about that job that you're focusing on for college that it's the only thing you want to do, which what 18-year-old thinks like that?
No.
Or
yeah.
2, you're going to make your money back so quick that you can pay off those 6 Lexuses that you financed to go to fucking college.
That's the key right there.
And so that's why I'm not a believer. I was just looking at you, Alex, 'cause I know you're about to chime in.
Oh, I'm just looking up data for you. Do you know 40% of people do not use their degrees?
40%.
30% can't find a job in the
their
field.
field.
Yes.
Wow.
And 14% have since changed career paths. You know, maybe they were an accountant, now they're a lawyer.
No
things.
kidding.
Yeah.
It's
That
so
is
crazy.
incredible. But I know so many kids who did 4-year degrees at UNH for whatever, accounting,
General
or
studies,
yeah.
liberal arts, freaking communications, political
communications
science
is probably the most common degree. Okay, what are you going to make? $60,000 a year when you get out? In most average communications fields, probably. Mm-hmm. But you have, what, $180,000 in student loans?
I just see how crippling student loan debt is for a lot of people.
How can
if you have another payment from $350 to $750 a month for years and years as you're trying to build and grow and buy your first house and buy your first car, it's literally crippling.
At the end of the day, I think it's beneficial in certain aspects. I think you have to go about it the right way. Like, don't go and accumulate $150,000 in student loan debt if you're going to get a job making $50,000 a year. That's not worth it. Yeah. Actually, another successful friend of mine who did it right is another one of my best friends. He did his first semester. Actually, it's the kid who went to Coastal Carolina. He did one semester there, got the whole college experience. Went back home after the first semester, or maybe it was the first year, I don't know. And he went to a community college for the next 2.5 or 3.5 years, whatever it was. At the end of his third year there, he transferred to, I think it was SNU for his last year, and he got a SNU degree from SNU. For going there for 1 year. So he literally lived at home, or he never lived at home. He had an apartment the whole time, lived on his own, worked at a bank. My stepdad hooked him up with a job at a bank. Now he's like a big branch manager. I mean, he's crushing it. But he did it right because he only has 3 years of technical college student loans, and then he has whatever it cost him to go to SNU for that last year. I can't imagine the kid has more than $40,000 or $50,000 in student loans, but he's probably also making $70,000 or $80,000 as a bank manager. So like that to me is logical. That makes sense. But it's the people, I think you're setting yourself up for complete failure if you have every intention of taking out $100,000 to $200,000 in student loans, but the average salary for the field you're trying to get into is, if it's under $60,000, is it really worth it?
Right.
The 3-in-1 program's awesome.
The what? Yeah,
It's
is that
the
what
3-in-1 program? Yeah, so you can do that
SNU?
in any state, any community college in New Hampshire.
Yep.
3 years at that community college, 1 year at SNU.
Yep.
And for me,
it's
that's the best bang for your dollar.
I was just going to say that. It's the
Yeah.
best bang for your buck, without a doubt.
See, and a lot of people don't go that route. And I
No.
don't think it's the 18-year-old kids to blame. I literally think it's society as a whole. It's the guidance.
100%.
It's the guidance counselors. It's
The
the
teachers.
teachers. It's
The
the
parents.
parents. The enabling parents that are like, hey,
have to go to
yeah,
college.
it's normal to finance $40,000 a year to go
No.
to go to college for
It's
general
not.
studies.
It's not.
If my kid comes to me at 18 and says, hey, Dad, I want to go to UVM and I'm going to major in liberal arts, I'm going to tell him no.
Get out. Out of my house.
I'm going to say, hey, listen, if you want to go for the experience and you think it's vital and you finding yourself, sure, we'll do 1 year.
1 year.
And
1 year for the
we'll
experience.
do 1 year so that
But for
you
the
can,
education, it's not worth
so
it.
you can find yourself for the experience, but that is it, because I'm not purchasing 6 Lexuses so that you can smoke weed with candy. Okay? It's not happening. So
How do you smoke weed with candy?
I was saying candy like a stripper name.
Oh.
So maybe I should say I'm not buying 6 Lexuses so you can smoke weed with Trixie.
Strippers.
Trade and tech schools are
Yep.
completely different. I'm a big believer in that.
100%.
Because it's funny.
Well, there's such a high demand for those jobs right now,
it's
too.
the essential jobs. Every one of my friends
That's essential.
that has a degree from a trade school or a tech school is still working right now amongst the
coronavirus.
the COVID-19 shutdown. And that goes to show you how disposable other jobs are in comparison
Totally.
to theirs. So I have a friend who's a machinist. He went to school for 2 years. I have another friend who's
And it probably cost them 30 or 40 grand.
he went to Nashua Tech or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was
the tech
probably
school
not
is
even
down
that
there.
much.
And
And he probably makes 80 grand a year as a machinist.
I have a friend who's an HVAC guy.
Another great job.
He always puts food on the table for his family, and everyone needs it. I have another friend who's a heavy equipment operator.
That's
and
where it's
then
at.
and then I have a multitude of friends just within the construction industry doing different things.
You know, I
you
think
do not have to be book smart to be successful.
That's
In all
the epitome of
reality,
me.
there's.
I'm far from book smart. I can't even read.
If you Google your favorite millionaires and billionaires right now, I would say a large majority of them dropped out of college. Just because typically entrepreneurs and very wealthy company owners, they think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
And schooling is the perfect way to get trapped inside a box.
Right.
Like high school trains you to be an employee. I don't remember
Mm-hmm. Yep.
one time high school telling me to become a CEO of anything. The mindset that you have to go to college for 4 years is similar to that, being in that box. And I think society as a whole is jaded. Really think that college was a lot more important in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like when our parents were around. I think that it actually mattered that you had a specific college on your resume back then. Like, oh, I went to an Ivy League school, so
Right.
I'm more likely to get hired at this
Right.
law firm or this doctor's office.
Exactly.
And I think now, because most of the people who are in charge are of our generation or the generation ahead of us, like Elon Musk, or we got the CEO of Facebook. None of these people care about your degree or where you went to school. All they care about is if you can do the job.
Didn't Elon
and
Musk
if you,
say he was literally just going to hire you? Doesn't care if you dropped out of high school. He's
there's
like, "I'll hire
literally
you."
a segment of Elon Musk as well as Kevin O'Leary talking about why college is not important anymore in this day and age.
If somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. If you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea. So, just looking just for evidence of exceptional ability, and if there's a track record of exceptional achievement, then it's likely that will continue into the future.
I really think that a lot of cool things can happen for you 25 and under. I know that my whole mindset completely changed at around 23.
I think that's something you guys should get into is the thought process that a lot of people have, that people judge choices you make when you're younger as a indication about your intelligence level. I mean, I definitely was not a good kid.
No,
when I was
none of us were.
I was in middle school,
Yeah.
and when I was in high school, I didn't figure my high school life out, like my grades, till my junior year, because someone said, hey, they're going to look at your junior year grades. So I got A's and B's. But like until then, I was I wasn't a good kid.
Yeah.
And I think that the initial rap that Marines get is that you're all stupid.
Yeah, we like crayons.
Right. No, legit.
No,
like I think
no, I really do.
They do though. Like you straight up get this this designation that you're dumb just because you're a Marine.
Right.
When it's a lot of times the
It's
absolute
really just
opposite.
Marine infantry that's dumb.
You're gonna get this fucking.
Oh, dude, this is the clip right here.
Dude,
The
you're gonna
fucking comments are
get
gonna get
you're
for
gonna get
that.
some rage in the comments for sure. A lot of
Before
people need
boot
the
camp.
discipline.
Yeah,
The
and
discipline
Alex, I
helps.
think you and I have talked about this even
Yeah, that's true.
on your show, was how much credit I give to the Marine Corps for my success today. I think a lot of it boils down to hard work, a good work ethic, and the desire to better oneself. To generalize everything, I think there's so many different experiences that you can have and so many things you can take away from those experiences that will help you determine your future ultimately.
I think that I had to learn lessons the hard way. I was one of those guys that just no matter what, I was going to have to get ringed up a few times and put in my place a few times. And
That's what do you think happened to me my first 2 years in the Marine Corps when I was a smart ass
if I could
18, 19-year-old kid.
If I could knock myself in the head when I was at VTC, if I could go back in time and say, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I totally would. But the flip side of that is I don't think I would have became what I'm becoming now if I hadn't have done all those things and to put it as politely and lightly as possible, be as much of a rascal as I was back then.
Yeah.
I needed to go through it like that. Once I snapped out of it and started to get focused and started to get more tunnel vision on the fact that I did want to become successful.
Right.
I did want to make something of myself, and I
Right.
wasn't going to be told no. Anyone who told me no, it was
It's
just
fire.
fuel to the fire.
Yes.
Like I loved
Fire under your
proving
ass.
people wrong. Money, it's so funny. People have this negative connotation of money.
Yes.
And they think it's very taboo and things like that, but I don't think it should be. Like, not talking about money in high school and not talking about money in college is not doing anyone any good. No one knows how to balance a damn checkbook. No one knows what investments are. No one knows the difference between good debt and bad debt. Like, for instance, purchasing a property can
Good
very
debt.
well be good debt.
Good debt.
Purchasing a snowmobile very well be bad debt. And people
But fun
don't
debt.
and people don't they don't connect the dots.
No,
I literally have people that I know who are like, you invest in the stock market? And I'm like, yes. They're like, it's like throwing away money. And I'm like,
You're an idiot.
what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
sure.
I'm a big believer because New Hampshire
Yeah.
economically is getting more and more strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, because we have a lot of benefits tax-wise for businesses, and while Connecticut and states like that are actually
Massachusetts.
tightening
Yeah.
down. I mean, I had a couple clients that had businesses out of state that were actually looking to move to New Hampshire due to some of the benefits. And also, we are just light years ahead business-wise than Vermont. Vermont almost, in my opinion, is like anti-making money. It's like, it's crazy some of the policies they have in place in comparison to New Hampshire. Because I hear about the insider knowledge of that through my oldest brother, Garrett, who still does a lot of construction projects in Vermont and in and around Burlington. And he has to deal with some crazy policies when they're doing some big construction jobs.
Right.
And so I'm a huge believer in investing in New Hampshire. I'm a huge believer in investing in Manchester because it is the largest city in New Hampshire.
state.
Whether or not Manchester has a bad reputation, which of course it does. And I think it does
But
more
it didn't
so.
always.
I think it does more so because New Hampshire is we're actually spoiled. We're very keen on not having any drugs or any riffraff in our state. And so because of that, Manchester gets this real
highlighted.
big negative connotation
they
and
get
this
blown
big
up.
So granted, yes, Manchester has a damn problem. And I'm so happy that there's people out there doing things about it. And I hope to actually help with that problem as well at some point. But Manchester's not as bad as people think.
No.
I step foot in one town in Massachusetts, and it can be 10 times. One block in Massachusetts that's 10 times worse.
Go to Lower Lawrence and tell me Manchester's worse.
Yeah, if you have a girlfriend that's always asking for your Venmo and Cash App, she's probably not your girlfriend, guys. Just to let you know.
Should I do this during the whole closing?
The fuck? What do I do?
Anyways, guys, this is your boy Matt 101 with Chris the Shotgun Pasco. This is a real success.
Yeah, it is.
Real success.
This is real success. Every other Thursday. God damn it.
Should I look at the camera?
Nope, this one. Look at this camera. This is live.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, everybody. This has been the Real Success Podcast with myself, Chris the Shotgun Pasco, and my co-host. All right, hold on.
I see it.
It was my first go. You had like 9 goes.
You gotta get so hyped.
Yeah.
Get so hyped.
All right, everybody. This has been the Real Success Podcast. Matt, hold on. All right, everybody. This has been the Real Success Podcast. Matty G and I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please smash that like button. If you haven't already, you need to hit that subscribe button as well. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. And just so you guys know, we will be uploading a video every other Thirsty Thursday. So stay tuned 2 weeks from now for the next video, and we'll see you guys next time. Later. What?
That's not bad. I like it.
What do you mean? Do I need to do it again? I can do another cut.
I can rock one too. Let's go back and forth,
it.
dude. Whoever wins, this is a competition. What is this? Take 5.
We're coming in here. I'll add a little. I'll make it dramatic. There we go.
Which camera do I look at now?
I'll bring you up at the end.
All right, guys, this is your boy Matt 101 with the Real Success Podcast with your boy Chris the Shotgun Pasco. God damn it, Dale, your whole life can't be about racing.
If you ain't first, you're last.
I have 2 first names just like Ricky Bobby. I really do.
Oh yeah, you do.
You're right. You're out.
There you go. You got this. Hey, remember, subscribe
Jesus
and like.
Christ.
Matt, I got it down. Thirsty Thursday, subscribe, like, comment. And Chris the Shotgun, Matt 101. All right. Alex, let me know when you're ready. Can I go? All right, everybody. It's your boy Chris the Shotgun with my co-host Matt 101. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We will be uploading every other Thirsty Thursday from now on, so stay tuned with us 2 weeks from now. If you haven't already done so, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
I like it.